Hi guys, what's up, Sandals Church Youth? My name is Dane. I'm super excited to be talking to you today. Something I've realized lately is that anytime I'm kind of by myself out in somewhere public or standing in line alone, something I kind of instantly do is I just pull out my phone and just start looking at it. I kind of realized this recently, and I was like, you know what? Why do I always do that? I'm just going to try to not do that for once, okay? And so I was out to dinner recently with my wife, Sarah, and she got up to go to the bathroom. And I hit that reflex, right? Like, oh man, I'm going to reach for my phone and look. But I was like, I stopped myself. And I was like, nah, not this time. Set my phone down. I was like, I'm just going to sit here and just live in the moment and just enjoy it. And I was hoping I was coming across as like the super laid back, chill dude. Just like everyone's going to look like, wow, that guy's so chill. Look at him just like living in the present, just, enjoying his surroundings. But in reality, I actually just felt like a total creep, just sitting there staring at everybody in the room like an insane person. And I realized really quickly it was uncomfortable. It was awkward. And it's really, really uncomfortable and difficult to just sit in silence by yourself, to be alone. I think we all kind of feel that. And there's just something about silence that's just uncomfortable to sit in it. And it's seen as this bad thing. I'm a pretty insecure person. I don't know if you guys kind of feel this way too. But it would just kind of feel like I would just be so worried that people are just kind of looking at me thinking like, what, you have nothing to do right now? What, nothing to watch, nothing entertaining to look at, or new music to listen to, or no one to talk to? Well, you got nobody? And I don't want to feel that way. And I think we all kind of struggle with that. See, I don't want to just sit there and not do anything in that awkward space and just, feel like a loser. And, right now I could stand on like this soapbox and talk about, oh yeah, all these things in our current culture are fighting for your attention, right? That every single moment there's all these apps, all these things just fighting for your attention, trying to get you to buy stuff and look at stuff and be entertained by stuff. But I'm not going to kind of go down that road because I think we're all fine with that. I think we're all fine with the fact that things are fighting for our attention because we don't want to sit and feel isolated. Man, we want to feel like when we're there in those spaces that we have something, some sort of purpose, some sort of value, something to connect with. And so we don't have to kind of sit in there and just kind of be bored or feel alone and kind of go through these things that we're actually going through and sit in that discomfort. But on the flip side of, I'm okay with all these things because, it gives me something to do, keeps me busy, and I'm okay with that. That's great. It's, life seems cooler than it was a couple hundred years ago when you just had to, milk a cow by candlelight. I don't know what they did back then. There's nothing to do. I have no idea. So it's great. There's all this cool stuff out there. But on the flip side, I've never once looked back on my life, not once, and said, man, I wish I consumed more content. I wish I binge watched more shows or spent more time on my phone and saw more memes. I've never once thought that. It's never added anything to my life. I've never looked back and thought that. When I have looked back and said, man, I actually wish I stopped to slow down to appreciate things more. I actually wish I spent time in the moment. Man, life goes by fast. And you guys who are becoming seniors this year, you probably feel that weight too. Like, man, where did all that time go? It just goes by quick. What was I doing? And so, man, while we all kind of struggle, man, when we talk about silence and solitude, we're talking about something that's so difficult to find and to practice in our current culture because there's so many things fighting for our attention, yes. And it's counterintuitive to kind of this fast pace and this content overload, but it's something deep down we all need. It's actually a gift from God, man, to be able to rest, to stop, to slow down, to enjoy silence, because, man, God can use it to change us right where we're at. That actually through silence and solitude, we can actually experience transformation and peace. And so, man, that's my first point for when it comes to silence and solitude, that, man, silence is important because, man, silence brings peace. Peace, man. I just want more peace in my life. That's all I ever want. Just to slow down, to enjoy things. I think one of the biggest enemies to silence and solitude and peace and rest is stress and anxiety. Raise your hand if you're stressed or anxious, right? It's probably most hands, man. There's so much to be stressed and anxious about. And the response, I think, for most people is like, okay, that just means do more. I got to do more. There's all this pressure. I gotta keep up. Gotta fix it somehow, and that just seems like that's what's expected. But God's response is actually the total opposite. God's actually saying, "Oh, you're stressed. You're anxious. Slow down. Do less. Don't worry as much." One of my favorite passages is in Matthew 6, when Jesus asks this question: "Man, can all your worries add a single moment to your life?" Has worrying ever added anything to your life? No. He says, no, tomorrow has enough trouble of its own. Man, just worry about today. Don't get caught up in it. Slow down. You know, one of my favorite verses too that Jesus says in Matthew 11, he asked this question, are you tired? Yes, I'm tired. Okay, I've been tired since like the first grade, since they got rid of nap time, okay? And I don't know why we as a people got rid of nap. You know how much I just want to take a nap all the time? I would lay down right now. If you said, hey, Dave, you could take a nap. Thank God, yes. I will lay down right here, no problem. Man, yes, I'm tired. He continues to ask, are you worn out? Are you burned out on religion? And this is what he says. If the answer is yes, come to me. Get away with me. Come spend time with me. Get away from all this noise and just spend time with me. And you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. I love those words, a real rest. Because don't get me wrong, I'm very good at checking out and doing nothing. Okay? If I have a day off, I have no problem. Like, I'm not going to check any work stuff. I'm not going to do anything productive. I'm just going to binge food, hang out, do nothing. But that's not restful to my soul. It's not purposeful. What God is calling us to is a real rest that, man, recovers us. It's restorative. And I just spend so much time doing stupid things. I'm addicted to the IMDb app, okay? I'm a movie lover. I spent like a good hour the other day just researching Adam Sandler, okay? I don't know why. Did I need to know that his dog Meatball was his best man at his wedding? No, I don't need to know that. Doesn't add anything to my life, okay? But that's what I'm spending my time doing with my time off. No, man, we gotta get away. So Jesus continues to say, man, walk with me, work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Man, life can feel heavy. Jesus is saying, that's not what I've come to do. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. And this is tough because, man, a lot of times silence and solitude can just feel like a waste of time, that we have to be doing something. But God says, no, slow down, get away with me. And in the ancient days, man, to take a day off was actually a command from God. God himself, when he made everything, he rested on the seventh day. And he told his people, do the same thing. And it's called practicing the Sabbath, which I think the Hebrew word for is Shabbat, which means Saturday. So yeah, take a day off. This is God's idea. In a time thousands of years ago where it's like, man, if you took a day off, you'd fall behind. You could go hungry, you're doing less, you're bringing in less money. But God's saying, no, trust me, slow down, do nothing. And you guys all do this already, okay? I'm gonna blow your mind right now. You guys all practice a spiritual discipline every single day or every night. When you go to sleep, that's a spiritual discipline, okay? When you fall asleep every night, you're sitting there, and that's you saying, God, I trust you to handle things while I'm not doing anything. While I'm resting and unconscious and recovering, God, you're going to keep life going. You're going to keep this world spinning. It's in your hands. It doesn't have to be in mine. And that's the same thing we do every time we get away, we take a break, we take rest, and we get away and practice silence and solitude with God. We're saying, God, I trust you with the things in my life that I can't control. I trust you with the things that I can, that I'm stressed and anxious about. And man, with that trust comes a peace. God brings us that peace. And the next thing silence brings is perspective, man. Brings perspective. So it brings peace and it brings perspective. It's kind of little two P's there. It's great. It brings perspective. Psalm 46:10 says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. So if you're ever feeling, man, lost or have a hard time finding joy or hope, God says, be still. Be still and know that I'm at work. And this is so difficult. It's so difficult to be still. I get it, okay? I have ADHD. I was diagnosed a couple years ago and I've been taking medication for it. And even still, man, sitting still and like just spending intentional time with God is hard. I tried to a little while ago. I was like, I'm just going to spend 15 minutes of my morning just, in silence, reading my Bible. Let's just try it. And this is how it went. This is like exactly how it goes. I sit there. It's like, all right, we got to set the vibe. I'll usually put on some nice vibey music, turn the lights off, have like some nice natural sunlight coming in the morning. I've seen other Christians, they'll have like a cup of coffee too. So I'll usually also do like a little bagel sandwich because bagel sandwiches are awesome. And arguably the best food of all time. And so I'll sit there, okay? I'm sitting there, here I am. Okay, yes, all right, the vibe is set. I got all these things. Let's do this. All right, cool. Bible, yeah, oh, that's good. Oh, phone? Okay, all right, well, nothing? I thought it was something. Okay, all right, here we go. What am I doing today? Okay, yeah, That's good. Okay, interesting. All right, that's good enough. All right, and it's just done. And it's just like, man, there's all these things going through my head. I just can't stop and focus, and it's difficult. But it's something you have to work at because it's worth it. It's something I've been practicing lately. If you're like me and you kind of struggle with stillness and just, man, silence and taking a break with God, something I've been trying lately that I'd love to teach you guys also is something called a breath prayer or a centering prayer. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a prayer you do in a single breath, okay? And we all breathe, right? I'm breathing now. You're breathing. You're breathing. Yeah, it's great. Great job, dude. Good job breathing. And it's literally a prayer you do in a single breath, typically kind of based off a Bible, like a short Bible verse. So it's like this. For example, Psalm 23:1. You just sit there, you inhale. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. Man, it's a prayer, a single breath. And I kind of set alarms on my phone just throughout the day, like 9 a.m., noon, 3. So when it goes off, like, okay, yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause. I'm just going to breathe and pray this. And I'd love for you guys to, man, practice this because there's something incredible about it. When you stop and pause and just consider, man, when you take that breath, it reminds you, man, that breath is from God. God has given me this life. Man, this is this gift. It's this instant shift in perspective. To remind yourself of God's truth, to refocus your attention, whatever you got going on, it's a pause, and man, just be silent and spend that time with God. And a breath, man, anyone can do it. And I'd like to encourage you guys, man, try that out this week. I'll send you guys some verses too that you can practice it with. I'd love you to do that with me because it's just been really, really transformative and helps bring perspective. And last, which is amazing, is that, man, silence just allows you to hear from God, man. There's this incredible quote from C.S. Lewis. He wrote, Chronicles of Narnia, one of like the greatest Christian thinkers of all time. And he talks about this. He says, man, avoiding God in many times and places has proved to be difficult that a very large part of the human race failed to achieve it. A lot of people had a really hard time avoiding God. But in our own time and place, it's extremely easy to miss God. He says this is how you miss God. Avoid silence. Avoid solitude. Avoid any train of thought that leads off the beaten track. Concentrate on money, on sex, on status, on health, and above all, your own grievances. Keep the radio on, live in a crowd, use plenty of sedation, and if you must read books, select them very carefully, but you'd be safer to stick to the news. Yes, there's all these things shouting, pulling our attention away from God, and it's easy to miss Him. One of the most incredible passages is from this dude Elijah. So Elijah was this prophet in the Old Testament. And at this point in Elijah's life in 1 Kings, some stuff goes down. And Elijah's fleeing for his life into the wilderness alone. And he's crying out to God because nothing's going the way he wanted. He's overwhelmed. And he's begging God, God, just take my life. I'm done with this. He's at his end. Man, why is everything going on wrong? I'm done with this. And so God shows up. Well, first, so he's in this cave. And God has him stand at the end of the cave. And at first it says in 1 Kings 19:9, a mighty windstorm hit the mountain. It was a terrible blast that the rocks were torn loose, but the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was this earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, there was this big fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, there was the sound of a gentle whisper. And that's where God spoke. I think a lot of us, when we imagine kind of getting away with God, spending time with God, we want this big, crazy, and insane experience. We want God to shout and show something that he's there. But man, that's not how God responds to us when we spend time with him. He doesn't need to. Man, because he is close. Man, why does God speak in a whisper? It's like this. So right now I'm looking at Kyle Bunyan from Lake Arrowhead campus. He's pretty far away. So if I was like, hey, Kyle, how you doing?
I'm good.
What's your favorite food, Kyle?
Pizza.
What is it?
Pizza.
Oh, okay, all right. He's shouting because he's far away. But hey, you know what? Just come close. Just come tell me. Just come up and tell me. What's your favorite food? Kyle Bunyan, everybody. What's your favorite food? It's pizza. Pizza. That's right. Pizza. It's great. Good choice. See, he doesn't need to shout because he's near. Amen. This is how it is with God, man. When we get alone with God, he doesn't need to shout. He whispers because God is close. He's accessible no matter where you're at. Well, any time in your life. So man, my encouragement to you guys, find time this week to, man, seek silence, seek solitude, take a break, get away with God and recover your life and find a real rest for your souls. Listen to the ways he's moving, and it will change your life for the better. That's my encouragement for you guys this week. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great time.